Hi Jerry, you asked about the soldering iron in my last video, and so I wanted to show you what I have been using and how I use a few things. What I use a lot is a simple butane torch. This is a Harbor Freight model, and you just to fill it up with butane, push it down. So it should be full. Turn on the gas, press the igniter. This is piezoelectric. Now it's a little over full at the moment, so it's sputtering. I'll give that a second. Still sputtering. Yeah, overfilled. Alright, while that's sputtering, I'll show you the next one I used to use is the Benzomatic. Once again, a butane, you fill it up with butane, and see, I don't like that because it's leaking so much when I try to fill it. Once you get these lit, they're okay. They're supposed to light. It's supposed to light with this thing here. You press it down, piezoelectric ignition, it's supposed to ignite it. Honestly, most of the time, let me see if you can even see that, most of the time it doesn't work. This is actually shooting out a spray of butane. This one here, still. So what I would normally do, keep clicking this igniter until it actually ignites, and many times it doesn't. So what I end up doing, see, this is why I don't like butane. I mean, I had some butane soldering irons back in the 90s. It was a Weller Pyropan. You can still buy them in some places now, but they're really expensive. It was reliable, it was easy to start. You'd click that thing and it was up to temperature in seconds. And all the stuff I can buy now, it's just unreliable, pain in the ass, pretty much junk. Alright, so not sure if you can see that. Yep, you can. Finally got my butane torch going, which means I'll probably be able to start my butane soldering iron. And the way I do that, I use my torch to heat up the tip of my soldering iron, and sooner or later it actually ignites and soldering iron fires up. So this is why, and this is for you Jerry, this is why I much prefer my new Ryobi cordless 18 volt soldering iron, because these have been so much trouble to get going. Alright, so the soldering iron is finally going. The butane torch is going. So I'm going to crank up to get the Ryobi. Once again, I'll see if you can see that. But you can. To get the Ryobi soldering iron going, all I gotta do is press this button. There's a little light on top. It's flashing red. That means, so a fast flash means it's heating up. A slow flash means it's cooling down, but still hot. So that's flashing, that's ready to go. A lot of the soldering I do off-grid is like this. I simply, I've already twisted these wires together, and the copper is clean, so I'm ready to go on this. But a lot of the soldering I do is like this. I just heat up the joint and apply the solder to the joint. Alright, so there I got a pretty good solder joint. Yeah, that's pretty good. I could probably put a bit more solder on it. Alright. I have to put the glasses on. So now it's nice and shiny. Alright. Pretty good solder joint. And honestly, a lot of the times this is all I use because these little mini butane torches actually have a lot of energy, so I can solder fairly large joints with that. Most of what I can do here in my off-grid place for the off-grid power supply, I do with something like this. So the butane soldering iron is going, and it's kind of the same deal. Just apply the solder to the tip of the soldering iron, then apply that to the joint, and I can do a lot of solder joints like that. I'm going to strip a bit of wire here. Alright, strip a bit of wire here. Twist them together. Should be, see that? Twist those two wires together. Okay. And I'm ready. So now the Ryobi is a solid red. That means it's heated up. Can you see that? Yep. Means it's heated up to temperature. It's ready to solder. Quick clean of the tip, and solder to tip, tip to joint, heat it up, and that is just about done. Okay, so the Ryobi cordless soldering iron is it probably doesn't have quite as much power as the mini butane torch or the butane soldering iron, but it is a lot easier to start up. It's actually better for small work, such as a circuit board. What was I doing? Yeah, I was working on a circuit board when you asked me about that. Anyway, so it's actually better for a circuit board than a lot of things. Very quick to heat up, easy to use. I love my little Ryobi 1 Plus 18 volt lithium, whatever, that's the battery. When you're finished with it, you press the power and it'll start slow blinking red, which means it's slowing down, it's cooling down. And now I did another video, I showed you I think I made a soldering iron, kind of like this, not as big, but you need to do some big soldering, such as I've repaired my truck radiator with this soldering iron. It's got a lot. It's got a lot of power. You heat it up. It's got a lot of energy stored in that tip, and you can solder very large jobs without a flame. So you need to do some large soldering. Something like this may be the way to go. And most of the time I don't need to do super big soldering jobs, so it's not worth me spending a lot of money on a high power electric soldering rig. But it's handy to have some of these old school soldering irons about, or be able to make them, which I showed in some other video. Anyway, right, Jerry, that's my Ryobi. I really like it. There is another model. If you're doing smaller, more precise work, there is another model of these Ryobis that has an adjustable temperature setting or adjustable power setting. This isn't that one. This is the basic version, but there is another version available.